Five. Peace, family. Let me start with I got to reset with the bowl. We got to reset the energy again. 19 keys is a channel, so 19 keys. We live, man to man show. You want to hit the bowl this time, man?
Come on, man.
I'm going to let you hit the bowl, and I'm going to light the Palo Santo. Make sure
right.
y'all come to the man to man show. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment. You know, do whatever you need to make sure that the word is out there, that the man to man show is the realest show that you ever heard. Peace.
Oh, shit.
You got another lighter?
Oh, it's right there.
All right, so let's get back into it. You know, the dangers of a dream. So I was asking you a question.
Yeah.
If you have a dream, but your dream is attached to a stipulation, and it's not so simple. It is for a lot of people, right? But you have to understand the deception of these devils is very clever. They don't just outright ask you a question.
Yeah.
They wait till they got you, right? They wait till they got you in a spot where you have to say yes or no to something that you've been wanting for a very long time.
Yeah.
Right? You have to say yes or no, not only to the question that they're asking, but you're saying yes or no to your dream. You're saying yes and no to your bills. You're saying yes and no to this future that you've built up that's connected to this opportunity that now has this built-in stipulation. And they're so sick in the machinations of these devils, we can't even imagine how twisted that they are and the proclivities that they have to put people in these circumstances, to woo them and to set them up to a point where your dream is connected to doing something that's so detached to your integrity that you have to sell out all your values in order to make this dream happen.
Yeah.
And before you say no to the obvious question that somebody's asking you that is against your morals, they've set up the stage to make sure you think about everything that's going to happen if you turn this opportunity down.
See, this the thing, though. You got to ask yourself, right, about the long-term damage that it do for the price of fame of you selling your soul and losing your integrity. That shit, like, destroys your personal development. Because, like, in the future, let's say you put on this dress and you do all that, but now you got to deal with the backlash. What if you got daughters and now they look at you like weak and they don't respect you? The women you date don't respect you now. Every time they get mad, that's what they use against you.
Yeah.
The men don't respect you. So my reputation and everything that I done been through prior to this movie getting offered to me, I'd rather have that life. I'd rather have that life. Your reputation and everything, that shit goes a long way.
Do you believe that everybody has a price?
That's
what most of them
I don't
operate
believe
off
that
of.
Because, like, it's like you said, it's for some people it's easy to be like, fuck the price. No, I don't care how much money you offer me. And then, like I said this on a man to man a while ago, your depth of awareness ain't about your finances. It's about, the way you measure a man is about your depth of awareness, not the finances. You know what I'm saying?
So Cat Williams came in and he said that Weinstein offered him fellatio in front of his staff. Pause.
Yeah.
And he said no. But he said that there were other black men that was on the same movie, and he has to wonder if they said yes. Now this is in alignment with what we hear about these offers in these situations.
Yeah.
The people who often say that they said no, they often say that, well, the person that offered them usually tells them that, but these other people said yes.
Yeah.
Right? And they are now working in this industry of people that they know have said yes to these propositions.
Yeah.
And they end up having to be a house of secrets. And they have to hold these. And whether some of these are confirmed, and some of these are speculatory, and some of these are things that they've seen, and you look at Hollywood and you realize why social media is far better than Hollywood. Social media is so far better than Hollywood because social media is not based upon the casting couch.
Or the gatekeepers.
Or the gatekeepers. It's based on talents, especially in early social media. Of course, there's a lot of gatekeeping that happens with the algorithms. But social media, we got to see true talent, not casting couch talent. Right? We didn't get, not the political, who gets to go in, favor for favor. Right. That's not the most talented people. Celebrities often were the most talented victims, not the most talented people in society. So when social media came about, we see social media people that are more talented, can tell better jokes, can do better acting, are way more creative, because they have to go their own route. They're not given, hey, here's a script with a dress in it, and if you do this, you get on. They're not in some band group that says that we're going to house each other's secrets and be a team of niggas who took the proposal and are on.
What I have noticed, though, about Hollywood, those guys who was against all of that shit, Hollywood been swinging back around trying to get them boys back on the stage now because they know, like, this who the people respect. You got the Dave Chappelle, you got the Cat Williams. They still not selling their soul. They still getting on the stage, standing on the principle.
Yeah, because they was true talent. It's like doing a show and having a hit show, high-level conversations. You realize a lot of different things. Like, I haven't had, like, a super A-list celebrity on my show, right? And that's no disrespect to any of the guests that I have on. I have had a lot of great guests, right? Shout out to Joey Badass. And his unique character that's now gone because his crazy brother. But that's a whole nother topic. But it's been truly based on having something that the people really want. It ain't been based on you handpicked. It ain't been based on your plant. It ain't been based on you getting some industry money. You've been selected. It's been based on you having a mind that knows how to create and is able to tap in to the value that people need and want at the moment, because the right time, the right idea at the right time equals success, right? And so being able to do that, you realize, number one, I do everything based on organic market viability. You know what I'm saying? Do the people really want it? Not as it's shoved in the people's face so many times that you've learned how to manipulate the psychology of people, because the more that they see something, their defenses drop and then they actually like it, right? So we always said, no, let's put out something with no ads, no marketing, and see what they actually like and then build on that, versus let's throw as much money as you can at something and so you can sell something that people don't want. Right? So, I've been able to utilize that science, throughout this whole time of being able to push these messages, curate these products, position myself in the culture this whole entire time. It ain't been because I've been selected by nobody. Right? It's because I'm able to tap into a lot-given talent and see the landscape, observe, and utilize that to be able to create value of something that's really wanted. But Hollywood ain't the same. So now it got us really looking at Hollywood actors and being like, you guys ain't the most talented amongst us. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say that there aren't many talented people who fell prey and victim, but a lot of them were only given that next step to go is because they did become a victim.
Then, like you said, they become the victims. Then let's say they get into the controversy. Hollywood don't even back them up. You see what happened with Will Smith? He down there had the whole world turned against him.
Monique, Will Smith.
All of them.
So it's like when we get to now be in this world and we are in 24, and I really want to address it by 24. 24 is just like it took last year, we say 2023, but this year is 24 because the 24 is such a great reminder and cosmic number, because 12 is a cosmic number and 12 times 2 is 24. And so when you play in that plane of 24, you're reminded of time when we say 24. Right? You're reminded of cosmic time, cosmic order and existence, reminded of 24 hours in a day. And one thing that's going to be a constant thing with this year, is time. Time expired, time exposed, right? It's the time of, or age, the age of, right? We're going to go through so many different ages of this, so many things throughout this year that we're going to see that's going to play throughout quarters throughout this year.
Yeah.
Every 24 hours can be a completely different type of year this year. This 24 is also representation that we don't all have the same time this year, right? Because time, as my father used to tell me, time is a measurement of motion. So your time doesn't start until your moves start, and the right times in your life and the good times in your life don't start till you make the good moves in your life, and those good moves don't start till you have the good thoughts, right? And so this year, everybody don't have the same 24. It really depends on how you use your 24 through each and every day, right? Cat Williams decided to say that today was his 24. This is Cat Williams' day today, right? This is Epstein day today. Right, and we're going to really be able to, we're going to feel 2024 in a different way that we felt time, right? It's going to feel like we're really immersed in these moments. Cairo, which means opportune time, right, is going to be a reoccurring thing that we're going to feel constantly projecting itself as this year continues to unfold. We're going to go through so much, and I just want us to be able to pay attention, and the most important thing is to control your time. The only way to control your time is to control your mind, right? Which is controlling your thoughts, which controls the generation of what seeds your thoughts, which is the environment that you put your mind in, because your mind is a cause and effect machine, right? You put your mind around red, you're going to think red. Right? So what do you want your mind to think? Think about, designing your environment so that your mind thinks a certain way. So right now, I'm immersing my mind in the teachings and the knowledge that I want to think about all day, from when I go to sleep, from when I wake up, because I know what time it is. Yeah. I don't want to think like myself in 2023, because I don't even think my performance in 2023 was legendary enough. So now I have to completely immerse myself with the mind of the champion that I want to be like. So I can be like, all right, in this situation, who I want to think like, right?
So you creating a whole new vision board.
Yeah.
For sure.
When Cat Williams said no to Epstein, and then later on he told you that Farrakhan was his sensei, he said Farrakhan like a father to me.
Yeah.
Right? Who you think he was acting like in that situation when he said no, when he stood on that? That's it. That's that.
Now
Farrakhan
I didn't know
energy
that Cat Williams had ties with the Nation of Islam, and it kind of makes sense why he so strongly believe in his principles and where he's standing on.
Yeah, all of those who tap in go get that energy.
But I don't think the people since the live had cut off, they probably missed the Kid Cudi incident. So
let's get into it then.
We want to get back into that. So speaking of addressing
so
things,
you was defending them, and I was taking the opposite side. But let's go.
Bruh, you used to wear tall tees, bro. Like
okay. I really didn't wear no tall tee. Y'all was wearing that for real.
Nah,
though.
I couldn't wear a tall tee
because a tall tee would look like.
I was too short.
Tall tee on you would look like a.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I damn sure wasn't doing
when you
wore. You talking about we hated when you wore. Stop it. It's a knee slapper. Stop it.
I said it.
But anyway, I couldn't wear tall tees back in the day. I was too short. Ain't no way in the hell I was gonna put on a nightgown. No, right, sir.
So let's get into the.
But Cudi, yeah, Kid Cudi, right? So he performing on stage now. This ain't his first time wearing a dress. I think I seen the guy in a wedding dress before. Mm-hmm. But it's 2024. He decided to bring the attire back outside. Come back out the closet, I guess. And he said that. How come a man can't express himself without it being some type of conspiracy?
He said, as a black man.
As a black man.
Like. First of all, that's where I was mad at it. He could have said as an entertainer, as a rock star, as a weirdo. You know what I'm saying? He could have said as a gay man if that's what he wanted to say. Yeah. As a bi man, whatever he wanted to say, but don't say as a black man. Do not say that, bro. Like, don't try to make it seem like. Don't try to use your blackness as an armor. Right, for your weirdness. You know what I'm saying? That ain't got nothing. No, they ain't got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing, because we all know that context matters, and you know, in the context of America, when you take a style that was made, right, for a Caucasian lady, for the most part, or a European lady, and you wear it on stage, and people see a black man, because usually we used to this being, you know, what they call the minstrel shows, right? So this was all part of an agenda of feminization. So when we see you operating inside that agenda, then that's when we call that out, because that's what we see.
And then
we see you putting on a minstrel show.
Then they be having big platforms. People who don't know nothing about the agenda, they would think the shit cool and that it's okay. Kid Cudi did it.
That's why we gotta call it out, because you have influence. And so influence, the world is about it's a warfare about influence and ideas and attention. So when you have a generation's influence and they see that, and if they see it over and over, it becomes normal. So if nobody challenges it, the mind of the child does not know it's not normal. Because they have phones like everybody else. They can see, oh, I listened to his song. This what he wear. I want it to be like him. He wears this. I will, in order to be closer to him, I will dress like him and emulate these behaviors. Then they see somebody else say, no, that's weird. Now the child is like, wait a minute. Is it cool? Is it weird? So what we're doing is we're literally fighting for the, you know what I mean, for the people that would be susceptible to these ideas if there is not the counter effect to have the conversation. So we have to have something that is real culture to counter the anti-culture that is pushed on us.
Somebody in the comments say, when we gonna stop letting these black weirdos represent us in the culture?
They don't represent us, and that's the whole point. You know, Kid Cudi ain't never represented the black man plight or the black man, right? And I don't think he's ever tried to really. So this is why I had an offense when he used the black man card in representing something that is uncharacteristic of black masculinity. And we just gonna say that, like, bro, if you want to be whatever you want to be,
that's fine, but don't use us as the face.
But don't connect it to being a black man. Just don't do it, because that's not part of black male culture. It's not, and it never will be. And anybody who wants to defend it, put that in whatever box you want to live in and defend it from that area. But listen, I get to stand on what I stand on, and it ain't that. And whoever you've been around, that you probably hopped on that casting couch and said yes, I don't know how many times. You feel me? That's y'all culture over there. That's that casting couch culture. That ain't got nothing to do with being a black man. So let me say this, because the term minstrel show refers to the form of entertainment popular in the United States during 19th and 20th centuries. These shows were characterized by performances in which white actors and later black performers used blackface makeup to represent caricatures of African Americans. Minstrel shows often included music, dance, and skits, and were known for propagating racial stereotypes. They played a significant role in shaping racial perceptions and attitudes in America. Racial perceptions and attitudes in America is very important, now widely viewed as racist and offensive due to derogatory portrayal of African Americans. This is the new minstrel show, the emasculation of the black man. Instead of the black face, it is now the dress. Right? And we've gotten to see that. I mean, some of my favorite entertainers of all time, of course, we go to the Martins. You know what I'm saying? We go to the Eddie Murphys, right? You know, the Tyler Perrys, you know, Cat Williams is so funny because, you know, he said that they,
I know what he said.
He said they terrible at playing a man, but they good at playing a woman.
It's kind of true.
It ain't kind of true, it is.
It is true, huh?
You know what I'm saying? That's a minstrel show. That's the new 2000s minstrel show. You know what I mean? Like, it's a reason why these characters get characterized as some of the most successful ones, right? Like, even with, you know, we seen shows, like some of the shows Jonathan Majors was in. He was in the show with the witches and stuff. And then there was another show, The Man Who Fell to Earth. And it was really good shows. We don't allow those shows, or they don't allow those shows to be constantly green-lighted. So these become character types. Even though these shows be widely successful, they get so many viewers. How come they not green-lighting this in for a second season, or a third season, or a fourth season? But we'll get 5, 10 Medeas. We'll get 30 Martins, right? These shows where black men are wearing dresses, we gonna get that over and over. We gonna get the clumps over and over. Yes, these are successful, but there are many of other characters and archetypes of black men that will be just as or even more successful, but they don't get green-lighted over and over again. So we know the reason why. Because they don't want us to project that strong intellectual strength of character.
How did you feel about Cat Williams when he said people were complaining about the low pay that they got for doing the Friday movie,
Uh-huh.
and he basically was letting them know like, shit, this man Ice Cube funded this movie out of his pocket. He independent film on it. He not the Epsteins and all of them with the $200 million budget and all that. So you all should have been grateful that he gave you an opportunity. How you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't think Black Hollywood should be where we go complain.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear nobody complain about Friday. The reason I say that because what you're doing is mischaracterizing, and I think what Cat Williams said was on point because you're mischaracterizing, the face of those who take advantage of black people in Hollywood, and it ain't black people particularly.
Right.
Those big $100 million, $1 billion budgets to where they not paying a Taraji or these black actors. They just came out with a top list. There was one black man on the list that was Will Smith from Men in Black, right? And Will Smith, of course, he's an outlier. He's a unicorn. At one point in time, he was the highest paid actor in Hollywood, right? And then I think The Rock at one point in time was or is. And when you look at the rest of that film, I think one of them was Matrix, was the role he was offered. These are very unique roles and very unique movies. And some of those movies, I think you had one white woman on there, Sandra Bullock, for the movie, some space movie that was whack as hell. I don't know why she got paid that much. But it's like, there ain't no Denzel on that list.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't no Samuel Jackson on that, not the top 10 anyway. He might be in the top 100, right? But Hollywood actors, especially black males and females, have always gotten the low end of the stick. Always. That doesn't stem from black movies. You know what I'm saying? Because we barely get enough black movies. Now, what Ice Cube decided to do with the royalties of the film that he paid out his own money, right, it's completely different. If you want to create a film and you don't know whether it's going to be successful or not, you get the script written, you fund it out your pocket, you take all of the risk, and you decide to go get some actors, right, who are not big box office actors, and you pay them for what you think the going wage is to get a movie going based on the budget that you have, and it happens to have this crazy wild success, you are not then obligated afterwards to then go find more money to give
You
them.
had the option to say, nah, I don't want to take the pay in the
Well, they
first
was
place.
always going to take the pay because they needed it, but Ice Cube didn't have no success as a director. He didn't have no success in making movies and producing movies before that. So there was no faith in it, or there was no belief that they needed to get paid more for a movie from Ice Cube because Ice Cube didn't have a resume. You know what I'm saying? Not in making movies. Friday was a breakout movie and a cult classic success, right? Because the hood really rocked with it. So, I think that, a lot of times when we do stuff, we have to be appreciative of it, especially when we open doors for each other. Because, that was probably the first time I really seen Chris Tucker. It was the first time I seen Ezel. First time I seen a lot of those
Shit,
actors.
I feel like that's where Chris Tucker get a lot of his respect as far as the black community goes from the movie Friday.
I don't think there's no Rush Hour if there was no Friday.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, that is what it is. Now, let's get on this list.
All right, so speaking of this list, right, this is the Jeffrey Epstein list. So I've been searching all day trying to find the list, and I couldn't find it. I seen a lot of fake
I was
lists.
checking on Reddit. I seen something. Now, listen, you go appreciate this part. You go appreciate this.
Yeah, the list I seen, it wasn't
so-
valid.
So, listen, I was scrolling down the timeline of what's known as social media. And this is a network that has been bought and is now owned by Mark Zuckerberg. And on Mark Zuckerberg's internet, as you scroll, usually I got it in my right hand, my left hand, I'm scrolling with my thumb, and I'm passing down all of these posts. And before I was looking on Reddit, because Reddit is a place I like to go to bypass some of the noise of social media, because I wanted to get a hold of the list. And I found links to the list. It's like 900 pages, and you got to go through them. And then I seen one user mention a name. Now, they mentioned the name of somebody who is highly regarded and highly respected in the scientific community. I didn't really think much of it. I thought it was a joke. And maybe it is, because I still didn't read this all the way. But I thought I'd bring it up during this show, and I'll let y'all confirm or deny what this actually is. Now, as I'm scrolling, and I had to just laugh to myself.
Hello, wait. How would I like this?
Just you gonna get to it. So the title goes as this. They say, hold on, I don't want to hit the too much. The title says, Stephen Hawkins enjoyed watching naked midgets solve complex equations on chalkboard that was too high. Alleges Epstein docs.
Hey man, chill.
Listen, I can't confirm and or deny, but this is
Oh,
this
man.
is this is out of this world. Listen, they asked the girls about Michael Jackson, and they said, man, Michael Jackson didn't get no massages. Yeah, I mean, leave Mike out of this, because every once in a while they won't let Michael Jackson die.
See now, like I was thought about this right with Michael Jackson. Right now, we all watch him come in the game as a child, right, like a real kid. Of course, Hollywood tried to force that on him, force that lifestyle on him, bro. But I feel like Mike, he came in so early that he seen like all the behind the scenes, which is why they didn't like him when he got older. Michael, he was really a rebel behind the scenes, and he knew the business, and they didn't like that. You remember he tried to bash Sony and all of that, like. So I feel like with him, he came in the game as a kid. It was easy to manipulate him if he was at the Epstein house or whatnot.
I'm trying to see if this was true or false. But anyway, it's probably false. You know what I'm saying? But it's just show you the wildness that's going on in this world right now. We're starting off this year with some incredible craziness. You know, they say, because I think by tomorrow's time, we're going to get a full breakdown of everything that goes on the list. And there's already, you know, most of this is like motions. Most of this is like discovery, you know, in the law. There's only like a couple of names that's still redacted. Some people are speculating that that's Hillary Clinton. Bill Clinton, of course, name was in there. Prince Andrews, right, who from, you know, that family across the pond. You know, we already know that they've been on that. They've been on that weird vibes, sacrificial vibes. We already know what type of time they on, so there's no surprises in that. Speaking of Chris Tucker, everybody thought his name was gonna be on the list. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now, so far out of those 150 names, we don't get a conclusive list of like everybody, because people are looking for headlines, showstoppers. It's 900 pages. Should easily be able to throw that in the AI and figure out if there was something, you know, bad, good, or ugly, or there's a headliner in there.
But I also said this on the other episode. Just because your name on the list do not mean that you did anything criminal. Obviously, I don't think any of them did anything criminal because they not locked up.
Just mean you connected to some weird people.
Yeah, but
means you connected to some weird people. You know
but I think shit, people got friends that they don't know everything that these people do.
Yeah, but this guy right here supposedly had been an intelligence agent. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Basically like a spy. His job was to be able to get information on people by putting them in precarious situations that they can later use to blackmail them. Right? So
that was his whole job.
That was his whole thing, basically. So at least this is what allegedly it is. You know, when they unalived him, because he didn't get to go to court, and his whole case never got to go to court and see the light of the day. Because they already know so many names was going to come out. You know, whoever he was working for wasn't working for. You dig? So it's basically saying that, like, if you connected to a guy like this, why else would he be rubbing shoulders with you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He ain't going to just meet the average person. He's trying to do his job, right? And if you're in that particular type of situation, then you caught up in that network. You feel me? Whether you're innocent or not innocent. Because a lot of these people probably are victims of their proclivities, right? But caught up in the network. I just think that, you know, you're not going to see, by the time something gets to the mainstream news, it's usually scrubbed of any of the most damaging things. Even though Bill Clinton's name was in there, you know, Trump had already said that he knew brother 15 plus years. And he say, his quote, you know what I mean, was that he knew that he said he liked women probably just as much as I do, but then he went on to say that he even liked some of the younger girls. You know what I mean? Now, for him to have a quote like this out as boldly is crazy. That dude is another type of dude. And it's gonna be interesting to see what goes on with the presidency this year. Because even I seen something with Charlemagne the God. They said that he is a thorn in the Democrat side. And, you know, that stems from, you know, his conversations about the Democrats. Yeah. And basically telling the truth on them now, right? Saying that they not doing enough They're not presenting any viable candidates, right? And they really not showing up at all this election. Their whole election scheme seems to be set upon the hope that Donald Trump, does not is not able to run against him. But they're not really putting up any numbers on the board.
It go back to the, like you said, the age of Aquarius. It's the fall of old institution and the fall of doing things the old way. People ain't into the voting thing no more. They marketed it all wrong now. Like people attention span is short now. We ready for some real shit now. Like for real.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what the 24 energy is about. It's a time of revelation. So everybody has to get prepared and everybody has to put their affairs in order, right? We're going to get a lot of shocks and surprises this year. A lot of them. Some stuff that we're not going to like. It's going to be stuff in our personal life that we're not going to like and we're not going to want to have to deal with. But that's the reality of what's going on in this world. We speak on a lot of these different subjects that's going on today because we know that it viralizes the algorithm, but what's more important is, you being on the side of light versus dark during this time.
Yeah.
4 years ago, Minister Farrakhan was taken off social media. And I feel like the world was disrespectful and abandoned the OG. You know what I'm saying? There was no uprising. There was no true fights. And we're not shocked by anything anymore. We get information and it's gone. It falls into one ear and out the other. You know what I mean? It slides right off of us. No matter what it is, no matter how shocking it is, nothing shocks us, which means that we're gonna go through 1,000 shocks this year, right? Just to keep people entertained. Not to actually shock you, not to make you change, because the truth is no longer shocking. The truth is no longer shocking. So what that means is that you have to be hit with such a high dosage and high voltage of truth and energy and information that even wakes your spirit up to react to it. Because people are not really reacting. People are just laughing it off. Yeah. There was a time where one piece of these information in like these long form interviews would be news headlines shocking for weeks. Now, you watch a Cat Williams interview and, every 30 minutes or 10 minutes, he's dropping a shocking headline type of comment. He's Thanos, you know what I'm saying? Throughout the whole thing. And that's still not enough to keep the attention because somebody else can drop an interview tomorrow and it steals the headlines. Yeah. Right? So, the time that we have in order to keep ourselves focused is going to be very limited. So the fight for attention this year is going to be the hardest fight that we've ever been through in eternity, ever. Your children will have absolutely no opportunity to be focused, right? We're going to get some extreme things that's going to go on, and that's just in my heart. That's just something that I feel.
Yeah. So I seen that you dropped your 2023 recap, right?
Yep.
It's a nice video, actually, but I want to talk about the future of 2024. What does the future of 2024 look like for the high-level conversations, for the Crown Society, and we can give them one for the man-to-man?
Well, for 2024, we really want to go big this year. We didn't have any booking agent last year. Everything was just based on context. I was just able to reach out to people. I ain't really... Behind the scenes, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really get an extreme amount of love in this industry whatsoever. People try to get close, people try to get by, but when I say love, I mean actionable things. It ain't nobody that's reaching out and being like, yo, I'm gonna connect you with this person, none of that. Nobody's helped me with no booking, nobody has helped me with no sponsors, nobody's helped me with anything throughout this whole entire time. So it just let me know, all right, this is a way that this is a strategy that we're going to have to impose ourselves. We have to get big enough to where we're a force. Because it's easy for us to get anybody that wants to drop some news and information on our show, we can create headlines just like any other show. We can get millions and millions of views. So our strategy is going to be different in a way that we're going to approach this. You know what I mean? We're going to really create a campaign, and I really don't have too many holds bar on, who I have on the show, besides it has to be integrable. My show is not a gossip show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you want to drop truth Yeah, we can speak, but we get to speak factual. We're not speaking from an emotional thing. That's gonna be enough of that in the world. It's gonna be so much gossip and tabloid and exposure culture and shock culture and all of that. But we have to have a place where we can be real, we can be reasonable, we can be rational, right? And that's where you come to high level conversations from. You're getting out of the world, right? This is a world building show. Yeah. And so as the world goes more sensational, right, with the news headline and more tabloid, we're gonna go more integrable, right? I wanna make sure that everything that we're talking about is facts, right? I wanna make sure it's well researched. I wanna make sure that everything about high level conversations is a breath of fresh air, right? And then at the same time, we cannot be limited. What you think that you should expect on here, don't expect. Just allow us to create. Yeah. Right?
What's a guest that you want on the show this season?
Oh man, I got a bunch of guests that I want on the show. I got a whole
list. You got a list.
Yes. We got a whole list. I would love to have Minister Farrakhan on the show.
Yeah.
I'll just put that out there. I don't even need to say nobody else. Yeah. I would love to have the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on the show.
That's gonna break the internet.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody can make that happen, let's make it happen. It's just that there's so many things I would love to ask the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, but I also think that it's the perfect timing right now. You know, I don't often say it because I don't always think it's the perfect timing for everything, but I know what the 24 is. You know, we always talk about the 24 scientists in the nation, and the 24 scientists are those who predict the events, right, that are to come and has come. And I just really see that this is a time of high-level observation, and if we can give the people the revelations, those who are ready, the starseeds of this generation, who are ready to receive, and I'm talking from the younger, right? And for those who are at an older age, you just go connect the dots, but I really want to reach the youth this age, so we're going to have the younger people as well. But there are trees that we're not going to ever be able to get back, once they're gone. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is one of them.
One of one.
Yeah, he's the OG of all OGs. You know what I'm saying? And as I've been listening to him recently, like, if you just listen to him, you got the blueprint. I promise you, he got the blueprint.
Yeah, I was able to actually see him speak in person twice in 2023. Something that I never thought in a million years I actually get to witness in the flesh and like actually be in the vicinity. But man, I needed that on this journey of life, because like the message that I got from him, I went to Sister Ava funeral or whatnot, and he spoke, but the message that he gave was, what are you doing with Allah's time? What are you doing with Allah's time? And that just had me reflecting, like, damn, like you said, we got 24 hours in the day. What are we doing with this time? Are we pushing the light, or are we pushing the dark? That's a question that you got to ask yourself every single day when you wake up. Because you only got that dash. That dash is the only thing that matters. The day that you was born, that dash, and then the last day that you got on this planet. So what you doing with that dash? It's a question.
What does it mean to you? This is something I want you all to answer. What does this year mean to you? And when I sit down on the couch sometime and I have to let my body sink in to where I am, because sometimes my thoughts be all over. It could be on a subject in the news. Yeah. It can be on a problem. It can be on a past subject. It can be on a future tense idea, right? And then sometimes I just got to clear and just let my body just sink in, like, wiggle my toes, feel my legs. Just let myself sink in to where I'm at.
Or you might watch that one show.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Never mind.
Anyway, see, you gotta be able to flood out. You gotta be able to flood things out.
The fluff.
No, for real. But seriously, you gotta be able to sink into where you are, and to find stillness and presence in this day and time. I think is gonna be the number one thing. Because to
find what in this dead time?
Stillness and presence, like to be present. 2023, we take everything with us. We kind of look at it almost like we cross over a line once we go to 2024. Time is an illusion act, right? We know that there are multiple calendars across the planet and multiple cultures that decide that they are in different time zones. Now, because we live in the Western Hemisphere of this world, at least someone that's watched this show, you know, you may preside by the Gregorian calendar. And by presiding by the Gregorian calendar, we have a collective agreement that this is the year 2024. And this is the first month. Now, some people call it the 13th because we go to a 13-moon cycle. Whether it's the first or the 13th, whether you just add that 12 plus 1, we are here in this time. Time doesn't have to be perceived by a number, right? Time is perceived by feeling and motion and your coordination and connection to self in this present moment. And when you think about it and you can sink yourself into the now, then you're thinking about, where do I want to be next? Because the only thing that really exists is now and next, right? So everybody has to take time to sink in and go over their journey for 2024. What do you want it to be, right? You get to do that in hindsight with 2023. You get to think about, you know, everything that coincided, the person that you was, how you dealt with anxiety, how you dealt with stress, how you dealt with loss, how you dealt with love, how you dealt with yourself, how you dealt with the shadows, right? I've been through so many ups and downs last year, you know, just going through myself. I don't want to be that person again. I want to be so much greater than that person, right? And so last year was a very real way of, like, it's like everything is documented. So it's like me looking at myself on screen almost and being like, all right, do you ever want to take yourself back to any of those moments? And if you don't, remember them and disconnect to the feeling of them. So the way I do it for myself is I think about, you know, past activities and past habits, and I rewire my connection of pleasure and reward to them to dissatisfaction, right? Or guilt or shame.
Yeah.
And this is probably something that a lot of you all can't appreciate because people are taught to be so shameless. But dissatisfaction, right, is very important to have because that produces the change.
May I ask you this? What was you dissatisfied with last year as pertaining to your movement?
I mean, I wasn't dissatisfied with my movement per se. I think I was dissatisfied with my patience and lack of understanding of the necessities that go into creating a movement because I really felt like it was so much sacrifice.
Yeah.
And sacrifice, you know, meaning of like the time and the energy and the resources that I have to use to build this thing up. And one thing I really didn't appreciate it was a lot of the criticism along the journey and the way. Because people who do nothing often have the most to say about people who doing something.
Facts.
Right? And usually it's the people who do nothing that are always saying you're not doing enough. And so it was like, bro, when to go around the world, to create a show, to put together a tour, to, you know, go speak throughout different places, to design a movement, to show up aesthetically a certain way, to have the time to research, to be emotionally stable, to deal with yourself, your family, the world, the politics, the everything. There's so much time, energy, you know, emotions and money, like resources that go into that. That sacrifice got to be appreciated and reciprocated. So it's like last year was so much of a sacrifice, you know, self-funding a tour, self-funding a show, self-funding everything that I do to make sure that the team is tight and everybody, the dream is right. You know, like only you really feel all of that. You know what I'm saying?
But that's what I was talking about, the Ice Cube situation. He independent. He doing it on his own. If you don't respect that, you just in the way anyway.
Right. Like, and it's like you a lot of people find themselves trying to compete with somebody that's independent. You don't want to do that because the problem with it turns into hate because they realize that they can't. And so they have to try to figure out a reason why you're able to do it and they can't.
Right.
Well, you ain't even been on the journey yet. You want to do something that I'm doing, but you don't even have the resources to sacrifice to do it. Right? And if you have the resources, you don't even know if you would sacrifice the resources to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's not been a lot of people that get to be in this position, you know, because it's not an easy position to be in. It's like the game is that most people you see go speak and go do tours, they have a sponsor. Sponsor is a company that decides to get behind them because they think that it's going to be, you know, equal benefit that if they sponsor you, then they get that marketing attention. right? So they get sponsorship dollars to go out and do those things. I've never been able to work with corporate America like that.
Yeah.
I've been having to do it independently, right? There ain't been we get millions of people that watch the show. Now this year it's gonna be a little different, but out of the millions of people that watch it, right? Not one of them was like, I got a bag for you. You know what I'm saying? So everybody was like, we love it, but you gotta do all that on your own. That's the way I feel.
Well, I want to congratulate you, man, because like we were sitting back here putting this shit together, the tour and everything, and we pulled it off. Like on the outside looking in, it looked like we had 1 million sponsors and like we did the job.
We were sponsored by God,
but
and Goldwater, and
shout out
Society.
to Aristotle too, man. I don't want to overshadow that. Shout out to your boy Aristotle.
No, we put that up
sure.
in the promos and things of that nature for surely.
But one thing that I'm gonna say I was disappointed with this. And I'm gonna go on record and say this. This is only one thing I was disappointed with the tour. We had a lot of sold out dates, but I feel like the hometown ain't show out to the point we had to take it off the tour.
Nah, I think that we could have still did it. I think the problem with that is CAA booked the venue. They booked was like 5,000 seats, and it's St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? Like as much as I love St. Louis is still a dead city.
Right.
Like we still gotta you gotta resurrect people and bring a movement there. Like they go fill out for a rapper. You know what I mean? Because that's connected to their death style. You feel me? They ain't gotta be alive to do that. Like, but when you talking about somebody giving them some game, because we gave a lot of people game at those shows, and if you ain't
but
show
I just
up,
felt like
know.
shit. We from now. If he's selling out at the Apollo, St. Louis better sell out. That's how I was feeling. But people don't know, like you said, behind the scenes.
Yeah, but New York and St. Louis ain't comparable.
But when it comes to putting together a tour, people don't know, like, it don't make sense economically to come nowhere if the ticket sales low.
Well, no, you can't. You know what I mean? Like there's certain sacrifices that have to make sense. I was talking with Keenan about like the structure of the business, and he was asking me like, what's my structure? You know what I mean? Like, what's my structure? Team, who does what? What's their role? You know, what's the structure of your day, your week, your month? Because I can look at everybody's structure and I can see, you know, how they go about their business, right? Because you have to have somebody who's like the front end talent, somebody who deals with like booking, somebody who deals with merch, somebody who deals with content, somebody who deals with editing, people who travel with you, right? You have to have people who are able to work those merch tables, somebody who's dealing with, you know, the travel of making sure that they're booking all the travel, the hotels, the transportation, security from place to place. So when you see a lot of people move, they're an operation, right? And then when you see the talent, we call them the talent, but they're an economy. Right, so this economy influence connected to attention, which connects to spending habits, which people spend real dollars on things that's connected to the people that they love, because we get money to spend it, and we'll rather be like, yo, I'm going to 19 Keys, so I'm gonna give me some merch. I'm gonna go buy this, right? Boom. So then people are spending money that's within their budget. This is why y'all be wondering like, yo, how you got so much energy to like talk to every single person at the show when we do like the VIPs and stuff. Anyway, moving, because without them, there's nothing.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, those are like, the people are really the sponsors. You know what I'm saying? When the people show up, they are the sponsors. So it's like, I get to speak to my sponsors. You feel me? Like in real life, like if that's the way I'm gonna look at it. But some people are small towns. They got 500 to 1,000 people that covet and watch them. Some people are, you know, states. Some people are countries. They got so many people that lock in with them. So when you are an economy, you know, your goal is to be able to structure that. You know, I was listening to Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He was talking about, you know, the first law of the universe is motion, and then it's order. So you get you some motion, right? You're on the move, right? But you have to put order to that motion. And that goes into anything, right? So we mostly start with motion. We on the move, we putting things together, we're creating, and then the order is the structure, right? You know, people like crystals. Crystals are things that are encapsulated into a structure, right? They start off with motion, but then when that frequency get caught into a structure, a geometrical structure, now it continues to be able to grow in this pattern, right? And it becomes crystalline. And you have to be able to crystallize the structure of your business in order to be able to grow. So anything that you're doing, there's so many people that you can see a person where they at. Some people got a lot of motion, but no order. You feel me? And so the order part is the rigorous part. It's the tough part. It's the construction. It's the infrastructure, right? It's like even doing this show. We got 3 cameras set up right here. We got somebody, Solomon, who comes over here to make sure that we're doing the live streaming and editing and producing on the back end. We got to have somebody that's creating the thumbnail each and every single time. We got to make sure that the products are connected to the back end. So when we connect the Shopify store on the back end to the show, the products go in on there. Then we got to do the marketing after that's done. Then we got to break down the clips. Then we got to put them on IG. Then we got to circulate them. Then we got to go find sponsors, right? And then you take all of that, you write it down, you systemize it, and then you delegate so that there's order to the motion.
Yeah.
It's a science.
It's a science.
I just want y'all to understand that everything you see is a science to it. Even people that you dislike, there's a science to their emotion. There's an order to their emotion. You know what I mean? And when there's no order to your emotion, it becomes emotion. It's energy and motion, but there's no order. But when you put order to the emotion, it becomes logistics. It becomes logic, right? So the logic to the motion is the logistics that creates the structure, that creates the movement, in which you can grow things into a pattern that can become a what? An evolution. Because when things are changing, they are evolving. You know what I mean? When they're progressing, they are evolving. Yeah. So we got to constantly now we got all this chatter in the waves. We got all this media in the waves. But the question is, are we evolving? That's the question we need to be asking so much through everything that we do, and everybody got to ask in their own heart. Even if you a hater, is your hating evolving? Because I see some haters don't never evolve, boy. The haters be doing the same old hating antics all day long. Yeah. And they prey upon other people who are in desperate situations and need something to attach to.
Still hating off the iPhone 6.
Yeah, man, you still hate. Come on, man. You hating from the bleachers. At least get you front row hater seats. Like Dave Chappelle said, the guy who attacked him was homeless, right? And he said, but I must admit, he had some good seats. At least hate from the front row, man. Yeah. What? People still hating from outside. Come on, yelling, hating. Man, Keith, what you do? Bro, relax, bro. Why you so loud, bro? Step up and hate. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather you be a peer hating than somebody outside hating. You feel me? So, but anyway, don't do no hating 2024, man. You know, if you really trying to be in a players club, you know what I'm talking about, the gods. You know what I'm talking? Because I'm going to tell y'all, the guys is taking over this year.
Yeah. I ain't got no problem with haters. You can hate all you want. Just don't do it in the vicinity. Because you might get a reaction you ain't expect. Yeah. You did. But
all right, more questions.
More questions, man. What you see in the news this week? That was interesting.
Oh, so Africa. I seen there's some interesting stuff about Africa that I think it was talking about the AI colonization, the digital colonization of Africa, because Africa doesn't have a lot of infrastructure, right? And a lot of places. Some places they do. But in the places that they do have infrastructure, which is very interesting, like Somalia, they were showing modern day Somalia in Africa. And they was like, yo, a lot of people don't know that Somalia has been rebuilt over the last 2 decades by this telecom company. So they have a brother that's the front of it, right? And I don't know the back end of it, so I'm only saying that just because I haven't done all the research. But they were showing how Somalia is a cashless society, and most of Africa is like that, right? Their digital infrastructure is like, they use like numbers. Like you send them money by having their number. You do business with them by having their number. It's not cash or things of that nature. It's not Cash App. It's like literally their phone number, right? And so a lot of the infrastructure right now is capturing, that African economy, because they realize that by 2050, Africa is going to be the booming economy of the world, right? And so for there to be any Black and African like issues and wars just don't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? That's the plug over there. Like, so everybody else is seeing this. So they saying that because Africa doesn't have infrastructure, you can go build the best technology in Africa. The reason it's harder to build it out here is because you have to rip out the existing infrastructure, then put out the new infrastructure. So let's say if you want everybody to have electric cars, well, you got to get rid of the gas cars, right? You want everybody to have, if electric cars were deemed, not sustainable for the environment, then you would have to get rid of those and come with the hydrogen or whatever other next thing that you want to deal with. But in Africa, because a lot of those places have no infrastructure, you can just start with the best technology. We usually don't have the best technology, right? There's problems and things that go and coincide with the development of new technology in, first world countries. So out there, they say, okay, yeah, we can start and just, instead of trying to make this a cashless society, in a society where, the currencies are not worth that much in the first place, the people won't mind. You know what I mean? Number one. And then the infrastructure of the banking out there is terrible. So let's just make it to where people can accept money and they put it on their phone and then boom, that's the infrastructure. So there's a danger to this as well, because they start putting AI and all this technology, and the AI that's over there, of course, it can be a new colonization where they're learning the culture of the people, and it always starts off as like, we're using this AI to preserve it and to learn more and information. And then at some point in time, this AI collects so much data that they're using it more so against the people just for capitalism, right? And so I see digital colonization utilizing artificial intelligence, right, in Africa as going to be one of the biggest things. And a lot of the problems that's happening in Africa now, they're going to be invisible problems. So it's going to be lesser evil problems. It goes from coal mine, right, in Congo, right, to where they be like, well, people aren't dying, to they're starting to have some of the second and first world problems. And people going to be like, well, at least it's not that. And so a lot of people aren't going to complain, and it's not going to be until a lot of these economies and infrastructures catch up to first world to where they start having these first world complaints as well. You know what I'm saying? So I will want people to put it in their mind now to see that and have control over the digital infrastructure as well. Don't let somebody swoop in like the savior, right? And they be just as bad as the current world leaders that we have in these first world structures. Hope that makes sense to y'all. I be having thoughts on the mind, man. I be thinking. You know what I'm saying? I hope y'all, I just be thinking about my brothers and sisters all across the planet Earth, man. I want us to be right.
Yes, he basically just let you know, cross all the T's and dot your I's.
Yeah, man. Listen, y'all, you have to be careful. It's like what Shaka Zulu warning. You know what I mean? You maybe think you're getting rid of me. You know what I mean? But you don't know that there's somebody else worse coming. And they're going to really take over. So it's like, that happens sometimes where they would look at a presidency and say, this person is a puppet. And then maybe a military takes over. They'd be like, well, the military is worse. And that's not, of course, all the time. But it's like the lesser evil thing never ends up being a good trade, right? We've seen that with Muammar Gaddafi, right? The lesser evil is never good. It just leaves destabilized. So you have to learn to create a greater, a good. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the good? You know what I'm saying? Like, beware of false prophets. Beware of these angels. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to understand that, it's the so-called angels that they bring to you. You know what I'm saying? Those be the devils. They just in disguise. When it seems too good to be true, it always is. All right? That's happened all throughout time and throughout history. And Africa has a unique position to right now learn that. And this is where I think the trade-off between blacks and Africans happen. It's like, we teach you your enemy, and we teach you their tactics, and we teach you their tricks. Problem is desperation makes one deaf. So when you are in a desperate situation in need for food, clothing, and shelter, you're not listening to the warnings. Yeah. If you're hungry, you're not going to listen to somebody tell you McDonald's isn't good. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When the enemy is bringing you a blanket and you're cold in the winter, you don't want to hear nobody say there's smallpox on it. Yeah. But that's what it is. And you have to know that these are Trojan horses that's coming into Africa right now.
I like that
analogy.
And
you can listen, or you can later wait till somebody said, I told you so. And I hate to be the one that told you so, but I love to be the one to say, I'm glad you listened.
Yeah, I'm glad you listened to me. That one, you know what I'm saying? So, appreciate it.
No, we ain't done. We got more for Flo. How long we been going?
You gonna leave me hanging though, blood?
We been going an hour. We're gonna take some questions from the people.
Yeah,
I got you
on.
though. Because that's how you did me earlier. Thought I forgot.
Let's get it.
Thought I
Let me
forgot.
see the questions in there, man. What y'all got?
Yeah. Thought I forgot. Uh-huh.
I'm the one who told you don't go to the casting couch though. You didn't. You listened to me though.
No, you know what? I wanted to be an actor before, and I wanted to even when I was like in my teens, I wanted to be a model, but I thought about it. I always thought I had the chops to do it. I still want to be an actor, but we get to create our own movies, right?
Yeah.
But I knew this. I remember, and it's a true story. It was one of the casting calls, and they was like, it was for some underwear, and I just thought about the scenario. I am not showing up to no goddamn casting call and walking out in no underwear and twirling around for a bunch of grown men to tell me whether or not that they go shoot me in this underwear. I said, hell no. And then my model career ended before it began. it was just that simple for me. I said, well, hold on,
They tried to get my dog some
I said, what's the criteria? See, you laughing, but you was cut from the beginning because they said you got to be 5'5". Steve said,
I wasn't going no damn way. Put on some underwear. No.
But listen, man. I feel sorry for a lot of these young brothers that don't have fathers and older brothers that can like get them game and not have the ability to like say no to things. You know what I'm saying? And like these are not opportunities. I'm just telling you, not. These are parasites. Like Hollywood. I really want y'all to, like, if y'all can do this favor for me, take a second and like really just think about Hollywood and think about the world and think about how for so long they've been propping up their victims of their trade as to be worshipped as stars for the rest of people. And they got these people who feel like nothing. I mean, these people who have to do drugs, they want to unalive themselves and they don't even want to be on this earth. They end up having to do all this prescription drugs and they try to party and socialize their way out of not thinking about like what's going on in their head. They become manic and all kind of crazies. And
then the internet don't do no helping. Y'all remind me every day.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying just the fact that this is what they show to us as aspirational. Yeah. Be this person. And 50 Cent said it best. He said, when y'all be thinking people fall off, you don't even know what you're really saying. And he was talking about it in music, because we got to learn how to put things in context. He said, in music, when you say somebody fall off, what you're really looking at is you saying that their budget is not as big as it used to be, right? And that's because the goddamn, the record label is no longer putting the marketing budget behind them. So when they drop a project, you're not seeing it everywhere anymore. They didn't fall off. They just not putting the same amount into their marketing budget because they're not going to be able to recoup that. So now they got to figure out another way to try to make it look like they got the buzz. And I think that the world has been fed so much of the Hollywood tactics, we don't even know how to measure real talent. We throw away people that we once loved because they're no longer doing the thing. They're no longer bending over on the casting couch, right? We throw away people because they got integrity now, because they're not getting a check from and being selected. You know what I mean? And so I think that society is culpable in these things. You feel me? And that's something to think about because we starting to like those, we love the victims more than we love those who say no and become victors. We just say this person fell off. How they fell off? Because they had integrity? Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that that's the sickest thing about it.
They do the great Sister Lauryn Hill like that all the time.
I mean, I don't know what that was.
Nah, that's because I mean, shit. You know, she took a step away from the industry because of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know? But people still want an album from Lauryn. They still listen to her. She put out a good album. But yeah, no, I think 100%. I think that we just gotta learn how to respect integrity, and we have to learn how to look at true talent. Like as long as the world is looking at numbers and we're looking at the metrics that's controlled by the devils, you are in love with their world. That to me is the simple fact. As long as you're looking at the metrics that's controlled by the devils, that's controlled by the gatekeepers, you are in love with their world. And so why wouldn't these people do that thing to keep your love? They're not doing it to keep their love. They're doing it to keep your love because you're in love with the way that the devil curates the world. They tell you album sales matter. You're not even listening to the music. You ain't decide whether you like the music. You telling me that album sales matter? If you don't like the music, what does it matter? If you love the music, what does it matter? It doesn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we not even in love with the art no more. We in love with their world that they build around the art. We in love with the business of the world. So this is why it's hard for integrable people and average real life people like yourself to get ahead in the world. Because if you don't take those deals with those devils, then people don't appreciate your art and your craft and your heart that you have. Come on, talk to me, man. You feel me? So yeah, you got some? Let's go. Sit back, Steve. Relax, man.
Moonlight Frequency said, what is the significance of this year being a leap year with 366 days and the energy shift with the history of the crazy events in the last 4 years?
Let me see what I got up in this book right here. The significance of a leap year. You might have to go to our episode with Lloyd Strayhorn. He actually talked about leap years, I believe. I'm trying to find it in his book, just the book that I have in front of me. Because he broke down the leap year thing. But I will want to go to numerology and the occult sciences real quick. All right, boom. And I'm gonna do a solo thing where I just give a breakdown on 24 and the meaning of 24. I want people to be able to go with this high level observation just on 24, period. All right. So it says, I am often asked about the relationship between numbers and the other branches of the occult. I can say yes, from firsthand experiences, my original interest in the occult prior to numerology was in astrology. When I was introduced to numerology in 1969, I could easily see a relationship. First, both the zodiac signs and numbers are ruled by given planets. So if you understand the nature of the planets alone, you can talk to both an astrologer and a numerologist at the same time. And this is true in other cases. Let's explore just a few areas of the occult to see how they relate. Now, he goes over astrology as in the planets and the ruling numbers of those planets. You know, one thing I think we talked about with Dr. B. Sirius was like the number 12, right? Like a ruler is 12, right? There's 12 disciples, right? We talk about the 12 hours, 12 times 2, which equals the 24 hours within the day, you know, and understanding that 24, you know, measures to that circle. And when you're understanding the ability to look at time, because right now it's kind of like it's half, you know, most of the time we spend 12 hours awake. You know what I mean? A person is not awake throughout 24 hours. So a day is 12 hours, right? Not 24 hours, right? There's a 24-hour cycle within a day, but we split it from day and night. And I'm not going to act like I have all of the answers when it comes to numerology. This is a field of study that I'm but a baby in. But I believe when you observe numbers, I don't even think that there is a finite defining definition. The way I look at synchronicity in numbers, I believe that you get to decide what numbers mean. Our first synchronistic date of the year would be, that should be, what would that be? I was going to say, actually it would have been I was going to say February 2nd, 2223, because you're going to get the triple numbers. And we already passed the 123, 123, you know what I mean? Heading into the 24, which is 2024. But we're going to get some synchronistic dates. We have the eclipse moon, or the eclipse sun, I believe, is coming in April, which what a lot of people perceive as the real New Year's, you know, a ritualistic time for people to be able to take in. You know, I don't really think much of a leap year myself. I was always taught that there's no such thing as a perfect circle, you know what I mean? So it's kind of looking at a 360, you know, you always gonna have something extra there or less. So I don't really have an answer for you, but I will say if you're going to go look into this book and you're going to look into the episodes with Dr. B. Sirius and Lloyd Strayhorn, that is more so their level of mastery and their observations. You know, when it comes to the number 19, I'm a master in that a bit, or a student master, I would say. And I like to dive into that. And then for this year, I will be diving deeper into, the 12 and the 24.
Asking for the name of the book.
Oh, this is Numbers in You, a numerology guide for everyday living. This is by Lloyd Strayhorn. Lloyd Strayhorn, Numbers in You. So it goes over like your name, your birthday, palmistry, being able to see, and it goes over like the different planes from the mental plane, spiritual plane, physical plane, metaphysical plane. It breaks it down and it can associate you with a number based on like your month, your day of the year you was born, the year you was born, and or adding it all up as well. You know what I mean? So of course I was born in the 5th year, ruled by communication, which is why, you know what I'm talking about? What was the next
What's
one?
the next question?
Charmel Nicole said, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul?
I don't think that's a statement.
That's
a statement.
Bro. Questions, bro.
He ain't profit nothing.
He said, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? Like, what does a man profit from that?
He don't profit nothing from it. He gained the world and lost his soul. He ain't profit nothing.
Yeah.
He lost. You can't gain.
You can't take the world with you after you leave and you going out the earth.
The value of a soul is another soul. There's meaning that there is nothing. Cat Williams said it very well. He said that everybody who sells their soul, the thing that they have in common is to act like they have it.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to get it back. Once you sold your soul, which a lot of people say you can't sell your soul, but you don't have access to that feeling of being alive, right? You're no longer balanced. Your scales are off, right? And you may spend the rest of your life trying to balance those scales, right? And this proverbial selling of the soul is really, I think, kind of looking at the Ma'at system of balance. Your deeds outweighing your sins, right? And I believe that, there's some things that a person do where, they're stripped and they're completely soulless, like, messing with kids or something of that nature. And then there's like small indiscretions and sins that people have where they go about restoring themselves by doing so much good that it outweighs anything that they've done before, right? So the idea of selling your soul is not like some finite transaction, but I do truly believe that there's some things that you can't come back from, and you have to use the rest of your earthly time to committing to doing so much good that the rest of your life is dedicated to not doing anything else that adds to that scale of wrong that you've done. But the value of a soul is another soul. So, if you believe that you sold it, there's nothing worldly that you can, give to get it back. You have to do soul work. What else we got? When did you experience the convergence of your personal timeline? I would like for you to break that statement down a little better. Blue Pill will be a great person to add on here, absolutely. I believe that I think like the idea of like we live on different timelines is interesting. I believe this year and throughout the last few years, all my alternate dimensional selves, they're aligned with where we're going, what we're doing. There are people who believe in parallel existence of universes and that, as you make different choices, that the universe splits off into different rifts. And for every choice that you make, there's another dimension of self that made the opposite choice. Or made no choice at all, right? It's kind of like you can spend a day sitting on the couch, or you can spend a day doing work, right? Or you spend a day entertaining yourself doing, opposite of work. One is constantly adding up to some substance of reward or value. You can call somebody and tell them that you love them, or you could have never said that, and you could have things unsaid, right? The question is like, what version are you? Are you? Are you the action taker, or you are the procrastinator? Are you the, rational thinker, or are you the overthinker, right? it depends on like what version of you you've decided that is your story and who you are. Because it's easy to become another dimension of self. It's just telling yourself another story and dominate yourself with more different traits of who you want to be. And all of a sudden you split and you now jumping into a different dimension of a different self. Because there's a dimension of self that is filled with different traits, which automatically creates the cause and effect to where when presenting with situations, they're going to react differently. The way they deal with stress, right? They're going to deal with stress completely different than somebody else. Some people have more grit. So when it comes to the point where they feel like they're going to give up, they never do, because connected to what their character is the fact that they believe that if they keep going, they become a better person. So it becomes like these ideas that you believe about yourself and what story that you want to have next. Is it a story of being a hero? Is it a story of being a victim? Do you feel sorry for yourself, or do you feel like you are your unlimited self? Pick a direction of what dimension you want to go into. A dimension to me is it's an angle that you choose, right? What direction you want to go, what vertical you want to live in. So tell yourself the story of the dimension that you want to live in, and you get to choose your destiny based on you narrating, right, your traits of the reality you want to live. Hope that makes sense to you. I'm trying to break that. Simply said, different choices creates different realities.
Another one?
Yeah, I'm loving this.
Boss guy said, with the current position of the world in the U.S., what is the most realistic movement we can follow to create unity and peace?
Realistic movement. There's no such thing as a realistic movement. It has to be supernatural, extraterrestrial. The idea of wanting a realistic movement is like wanting something easy. But I also get what you're saying is something that you think that will stick and will work. And in this world, you need supernatural, you need extraterrestrial in order to make it work. When something is a cult, a cult is a cultivation, right? And occult is knowledge that is usually not the mainstream. So it's not like Christian or even Islamic or things of that nature. It's an occult. It's not shared as mainstream knowledge. Some people could consider it to be pseudo, right? But occult knowledge is something that's not particularly proved by science, but it is in the realm of belief and metaphysical reality. But I say all that to say, when you're talking about what can work and what doesn't work, you have to go into the occult sciences of creation. And when you look at the cults in the world that have worked, that's what you see is existing in today's time. Go look at what works today and steal their blueprint and ask yourself, who wants to follow this blueprint with me, right? Today, I think that our idea of what unity is supposed to be is completely wrong, because unity is built off, a system of habits and beliefs, right? And what we view as unity of Asian people is not some consistent idea that they have in their head, like, I unify with my Asian brother. No, it is a chain of histories connected to a set of beliefs and habits that it is automatic thought ingrained into who I am, that I shot with my Asian brother. It's in my habit. It's in my DNA. It only makes, it's your way of thinking. It makes sense to you, right? It's not some pressing forefront of conscience. I want to do this. Sometimes it becomes that way when they come out here and you're there in Chinatown and they choose to be circulating amongst people who are of the same demographic and same ethnic group as them, because of course they feel safe, right? It only makes sense. And they don't have the same background as us, so it may not be as aspirational as an idea to say that, my come up in a world represents me not being connected to my people, right? We have that idea that when we outclass our people, we come up in a world. So it's about starting from small places. It's about having starting points and building on that starting point, and it lasting over time till it becomes a dominant, ingrained way of like living and thinking and doing for a people, right? So to create a system of set of rules that people live by in a particular vicinity or range of distance. So Where do you want this unity to be? We have to pinpoint this. It's not going to be some mass alien effect to where 45 million black people just switch on and be like, we're unified now. No, where do you want it to be? It started in the city, started in a family, right? There's unity in families, orders. Some people have mafia type families. There's unity in occult families. Some people look at the Bilderbergs, or some people look at the Rothschilds. There's unity in nations within nations. People look at the Nation of Islam. You go touch one of the brothers from the Nation of Islam and you're going to see unity. People have the same set of belief habits, lifestyle, right? And a desire to believe by the same rules. That's unity. There's an example of unity in the U.S., right? So black people don't really want unity, because if you did, then you would find people who are already unified and then come along inside that and then add what's missing. The problem is when people get inside, you're going to want to change it. And then by changing it, you're going to threaten a system that is unified, that works. Just saying. Let's go. Make sure y'all press like and subscribe if you haven't already. This is the Man to Man Show.
Stanley Wesley said, you talked about having motion and order. Can you elaborate on some of the struggles you experienced establishing your order?
Man, that's a good question. Whew, I almost sweated. That question so good. Listen, I've experienced almost all of them. I'm good at motion. In order to be a god, though, you have to be good at order. Motion is like, motivation is motion, right? So like having a motive to go do something, right? Inspiration will, like your environment being inspiring or you inspiring others, you put other people in motion from an internal standpoint as well, right? So I like to inspire. Like finding me a motive to get up every day is what puts me in motion. That it can defy the laws of the universe, because even when I don't have energy, I'm going to get it done. You know what I'm saying? Like scientists recently looked at a sperm and they see how a sperm moves, and they say a sperm kind of like defied laws of physics in a way that it pushes without having like, metabolic energy. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm not gonna go deep into that science, but when you have a motive for something, it is easy to put yourself in motion. When you have a vision of something, it will pull you. Your vision is like a sun, and the sun's gravitational field, once you get close enough to it, it just pulls you in, right? And so my vision be kind of far out, and it's gonna be the reason I'll wake up. It's the light in my eye every day. But the order process, that is the process where you have to truly audit yourself and evaluate yourself. And you have to go through a SWOT analysis, your strengths and your weaknesses, right? I had to really learn about myself. What is my personality type? What is my human design type? What is my ACEs type, adverse childhood experiences? What are all these things, that make me who I am, right? I had to look at the way I deal with stress, the way I deal with anxiety. I had to go through my shadow self. Like there was so many different things of when it came to putting myself in order, because you have to put yourself in order before you can put anything else in order, right? And it's a complete representation of the way that you do life. The way you do home is the way you do life. The way you organize your thoughts, the way you do life, right? The way you go about solving any problem is usually the way you go about solving all problems. Where's your starting point? So it comes from a deep point of self-reflection. So when it comes to putting together the team, you realize that what gives you motive to be in motion and get the thing started is not what's going to get you to the finish line. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be operating off pure metabolic energy and you're in a race and like your body is energized and you're in a marathon, and then at some point in time you get tired. And now it's just pure will that's pushing you, right? And then it can be times where you're like, all right, I have to learn techniques. What's the pro technique to keep going when you don't want to go? What's the best way to stand? What's the best way to move? And that's kind of how it is on the journey, right? You got your pure energy, you have your techniques, right? You have your willpower, and your goal is to not be dependent upon your willpower. The goal is to set yourself up technically so good that you don't have to draw upon this energy, right? So right now, the biggest challenge has always been the team, putting everybody in positions to where they're delegated and they're working at maximum efficiency, and looking at any point that you don't have covered and making sure you're putting somebody in that slot, and that's their strength. Because the problem is you don't want somebody doing a job that they don't want to do. You want people doing jobs that they want to do and that they're good at. Because when you can put passion in position, now your whole thing is fueled by passion, right? When everybody's in a position that they're passionate about, they can do that forever. Passion is a limitless battery. So it's always been structure, organization, team projects, team management, right? Those are the main skills of being able to have an objective, create the campaign to get that thing done. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah. So we're gonna end it off on passion and position. So I need all of y'all to figure out what y'all passion is. What do y'all want y'all 2024 to look like, and get into position. Don't count the days, make the day count. Execute, execute, execute. This is my good brother, Mr. 19 Key. This is my sister steady calling. Must be something important. Yeah, shout out to Steve Jones. Shout out to my bro Solomon, and shout out to all the viewers that ask questions. We actually gonna come back with another live this week. So make sure y'all stay tuned. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You see something you just seen?
No. Make sure y'all go get the products as well. I think on the site there's 50% off right now. So you can go to the crowns19.com. That's CROWNZ. We'll put the product link at the bottom after we're done doing this live so y'all can lock in. Share your thoughts below. Share this content with anybody that doesn't know that we do this live show. We're trying to get better and better with this. We're currently looking for a research assistant. So anybody that is really good at doing research and they can have reports generated on some of the topics we want to talk about to make sure that we're well informed with what we talk about. If there's anything that we speak on in the Man and Man show that you feel like wasn't correct or wasn't factual, we're going to have a way for you all to be able to submit things to make sure that one of the goals is that everything that we do is in time, on time, and correct and in order. You feel me? So I really want to thank you all. You all make the show work. Press the like, smash the subscribe, because this is how we grow this thing that we're doing organically. And yeah, I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all continue to tap in, man, and stay off the list.
Stay off the list.